Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Godbreaker. The man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Godbreaker in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, because we're having us a barbecue. Conservative pundit Candace Owens created a firestorm of controversy regarding the history and creation of the genre of music known as gangsta rap. Now, according to Candace Owens, she says that gangsta rap was never a part of black culture and was created by the federal government, who pro-offered deals to alphabet black men in prison and turned them into artificial celebrities. And she says the goal was to create false idols to destroy black American values, and says she'll never change her mind on this. And after Candace Owens made this tweet on X, formerly known as Twitter, rapper Ice Cube then decided to respond by saying that we called it reality rap, and the industry coined it gangsta rap, and that the fans wanted gangsta rap, and that's what they got. And he goes on to say that the feds didn't write any of his stuff, and he's a real MC. And while people have been debating back and forth regarding Candace Owens' statement and the Ice Cube response, when I take a look at both of these individuals, I can see how disingenuous both of them are. And I can see how disingenuous both of them are because both of them basically are in this battle of the bootlicks and looking to try to jockey for power on the side of the far right. Now, when it comes to Candace Owens, she's basically looking for an opportunity to try to weasel her way back into the good graces of the far right after she wound up being kicked out of Josh Shapiro's Daily Wire and wound up losing a very lucrative job working at the Daily Wire, going out here parroting the far right talking points as related to that part of white supremacy. And with Candace Owens basically being out here similar to Roland Martin, who basically was a far left bootlick who basically outlived his purpose and is now just scavenging for an existence on YouTube. Basically what Candace Owens is looking to do is try to show how she's still an asset to those on the far right by making this disingenuous statement regarding the history of gangsta rap that can easily be debunked by those who know the history of rap music. Now, when it comes to Candace Owens, she's not the only one being disingenuous. Rapper Ice Cube is also being disingenuous as well, looking to try to revise history regarding the history of gangsta rap, because his whole statement basically is filled with lies. Again, he basically, like Candace Owens, is telling a half-truth in saying that they called it reality rap and the industry coined it gangsta rap, and that basically shows how full of it he is as related to his statement, because as someone who was growing up in the 1980s, I can tell you that we did not call it reality rap back in the 1980s. No, back in the 1980s, we called it hardcore rap. And we called it hardcore rap because these rappers were rapping about how hard life is on the street and talking about how the reality of the rap of the world is in places like the Bronx. And that all started with the first rap song by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five called The Message. And The Message was basically one of the iconic songs of rap music. And that talked about the hardcore reality of living in the ghetto and basically it being like a jungle. Again, that song basically was the first popular rap song. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five's The Message, and other rappers followed suit in that whole path of creating hardcore rap music. Rappers like Just Ice, rappers like KRS-One, and rappers like Cool G Rap. Again, these guys basically rapped a hardcore style. So, and also on the West Coast, you had Ice-T rapping in the hardcore style. And again, the hardcore style was not a gangsta style. No, the hardcore style was talking about life on the streets and how hard life was in the streets of places like the South Bronx. That's what hardcore rap music was. And again, hardcore rap music came from foundational black Americans talking about foundational black experiences. That's what hardcore rap music was all about. Hardcore rap music, again, it was all about trying to present those messages, but present them to show our intelligence, and fell within the lines of rhythm and poetry, which was the foundation of rap music that came from the 1970s. The foundation of rap music came from black people, and it was designed to show that even though we struggled in the ghetto as related to poverty, many black people were intelligent, and we were intelligent enough to be able to use phonics to be able to create a music form based on rhyming. That was the root of rap music. The roots of rap music came from, again, rhythm and poetry, and again, was presented to present us in a positive light. Now, when it came to rap music, there were many in the mainstream white media who did not like rap music, and they did not like rap music because, one, it came from foundational black Americans, and two, was controlled by foundational black Americans, and they didn't even want to distribute rap music in mainstream stores like The Wiz at the time and Sam Goody. No, what they wanted, what black people had to do to get rap records was go to places. You had to go to black-owned record stores like Shukulu Shang's Record Shack that was here in Harlem at the time, or you had to go to the streets and get the music either at the clubs the rappers were playing at and get their tapes through there, or you had to find some brother on the street who was basically selling these tapes and records. That's usually how most people got rap music when it was controlled by foundational black men. When it was controlled by black men, rap music, basically, many in the mainstream media did not want anything to do with rap music, and they didn't want anything to do with rap music because, one, it was controlled by black men. Two, it was basically presenting positive messages and images of black people who, in spite of poverty, were out here being entrepreneurs and being role models for an entire community. That's what they didn't like, and they didn't like seeing, again, a positive image of black people that the mainstream media could not control. Now, in addition to rappers going out here and again controlling the black image, you also had Bill Cosby coming out with The Cosby Show. And with Bill Cosby coming out with The Cosby Show, he was creating a positive image of black people. And this two-pronged presentation of black people was changing the perception of black people in the minds of themselves. And as we started to see more positive images of ourselves, and we started to see black people taking on things like entrepreneurship and getting the self-confidence to go out here and look to go out and not only build businesses, but go out here and look to persevere to get better jobs or look to aspire to be better than be on welfare. This angered many of those who control the media arm of white supremacy because they started to see the influence of positive black media on the minds of the black masses. And as they started to see this positive media starting to have an influence on the black masses, this is what really upset them. Because those in the media arm of white supremacy, they wanted to weave a spell to keep black people spellbound. And as they looked to keep black people spellbound, they looked to keep black people at the bottom of the world, and looked to keep black people at the bottom of the world because they wanted to maintain a codependent relationship where black people stayed at the bottom of the world and they could enrich themselves at our expense. And what they wanted to do was basically keep us in a place where we were thinking of ourselves as pimps and hustlers and criminals, because this is the narrative that the media arm of white supremacy has presented to black people ever since the invention of and before the days of slavery. And they always wanted to keep you in the idea that black people are lazy, black people are criminals, black people are incompetent, black women are sexually promiscuous, and black people don't know how to do anything but be at the bottom of the world. And this is the narrative they put in most of their media. And what they didn't like was the fact that black people were taking more control over the media so that they could control the narrative of the black community. And this was done by the, again, creation of rap music and guys like Bill Cosby creating The Cosby Show, which was changing the perception of black people. Moreover, we started to see black filmmakers start to rise, such as Robert Townsend with his Hollywood Shuffle, and Spike Lee with He's Gotta Have It, and their types of films were showing us a completely different picture of black life than what we got in the blaxploitation movies that were mostly made by white Hollywood. Now, these blaxploitation movies were made by white Hollywood to reflect their ideas regarding black people, but as black people started to create their own stories, we started to see a more balanced picture of black people, and that's what was really upsetting those people in the media arm of white supremacy, because they felt they were losing control over black people, and in order to try to get control over the narrative, they looked to go out here and foster compromises with individuals who basically were controlling the media. And on the East Coast, when it came to rap music, this was done by going out here and compromising those people who would eventually become moguls, like Russell Simmons and many of the producers of rap music. They basically went out here and bought those guys off by offering them a bunch of money to produce the music that they wanted. And as those guys wanted to be a part of white society, what they did was basically look to walk away from the diversity of messages we were starting to get inside of rap music, where we were starting to see, again, this diversity of thought, where we were seeing not only the lyricists, we were not only seeing the comedy rappers, we were also starting to see black people starting to create a message of black empowerment with rap music, with the pro-black rappers such as X-Clan. And that was the thing that really upset the white supremacists, that all of this stuff was in production, and we started to see black people, again, looking to create black empowerment messages as related to rap music, and they didn't want to see black empowerment messages. So this is the reason why they went out here and co-opted rap music by creating gangsta rap. Gangsta rap was a construct by white executives in corporate America, and these white executives in corporate America, basically what they wanted to do was go out here and basically look to create take rap music and hijack the narrative, and in order to do that, again, they needed a series of bootlicks to be able to go along with their program, and this series of bootlicks were the ones who basically helped co-opt rap music and have it turned into the genre of gangsta rap. And that's where Ice Cube is really, again, being disingenuous as related to his side of the story, because when it came to gangsta rap, yeah, while the government may not have written his stuff was basically, he was told to do what had to be done. Because again, as someone who has studied the entertainment industry and knows how the business works, I know that when it comes to music, again, they won't distribute or publish anything unless it's basically approved by these executives. Now, when it comes to these executives, they are the ones who have the final say over what gets published. And when he says, "Oh, the feds didn't write any of his stuff," no, but when it came to them, yes, the government may not have written his stuff. He basically did write it, and again, wrote what they wanted him to write, because in order to get that contract, he had to make that compromise on the West Coast, the same way Russell Simmons and many other people who were in the early days of rap, as related to the business side of it, made compromises, and again, made those compromises because they wanted to, again, get that white acceptance and approval, because when it came to some of these black folks, especially these bootlicks, they look for white approval more than looking to try to create media that empowers black people. Now, when it comes to Candace Owens and her argument, she says that gangster rap was never a part of black culture, and that part of it is true. Yes, gangster rap was never a part of black culture. No, gangster rap was always a part, something that came out of a corporate boardroom, and it was not created by the federal government. No, it was created by an organization far more insidious, and that organization is the institution and the church of white supremacy. Now, this institution basically offered deals to any sort of black man, and again offered these deals to black men in the media arm of white supremacy, and they basically offered these deals to these individuals to basically get control over rap music. And again, like I stated before, this was a two-pronged approach in that they were looking to get control over these executives like Russell Simmons, and also looking to get control over rappers like Ice Cube, who they hope to use as useful idiots in pushing their anti-black agenda. Now, they look to push this anti-black agenda, again, along with the crack epidemic, which came out in the 1980s. Now, in the 1980s, we had a crack epidemic, an epidemic of this drug, crack cocaine, which was brought into black communities by whites and non-blacks, brought into our communities by these whites and non-blacks who basically, according to some speculation, were part of a government plan to, again, fund the Contras in Nicaragua and also funnel money to Iran. This is what some pundits speculate as related to crack cocaine, but crack cocaine was brought into black communities as part of that whole assault on the black community, an assault on the black community where they did not want to see black people starting to go out here and strive and look to achieve better, because when it comes to white supremacy is an institution that basically makes most of its money by going out here and keeping black people at the bottom, meanwhile artificially elevating whites and non-blacks to a position in society where they can receive all sorts of goodies, giveaways, and freebies. And what the whole idea of black people changing their perception of self basically goes out here and creates a competition that most whites and non-blacks don't want to have, because as they have been living in this privileged position, they are not used to competing, and they don't want to compete with black people, so they needed a way to eliminate black competition, and part of it was this assault on the black community with crack cocaine, which basically did further damage to the black American family, because the feminist movement already did damage by taking the father out of the home, but crack cocaine made it where the mother was incapable of caring for herself, and that coinciding with gangster rap basically coming into black communities made it where the black community no longer had, one, a family structure, and two, did not have individuals aspiring to compete. No, instead of people aspiring to compete against white people and non-black people, what you had were a bunch of black people who were basically addicted to not only crack cocaine, but also addicted to money. And as they were addicted to money, basically a lot of these individuals, like these drug dealers and these gang members, basically waged war on the black community. And as they waged war on the black community, it created a civil war in the black community of drive-by shootings, ambushes, and assaults, not to mention the terrorism of black people in their own neighborhood. And this whole terrorism of ourselves was, again, recorded in songs like Self-Destruction here on the East Coast and All in the Same Gang on the West Coast. And both of those songs talked about how the black community was basically fighting with itself in a civil war. And as we were fighting with ourselves in this civil war, basically this is what led to the black community falling apart, as people's minds were changing from focusing on black empowerment to focusing on being thugs and gangsters, because this was the music that was presented to us starting in 1989 with the NWA song Straight Outta Compton. Now, the 1989 song Straight Outta Compton basically was the song that opened the door for gangsta rap as we know it. And again, gangsta rap was about creating this social construct of the gangsta. Again, the gangsta is not a person, it is a social construct created by the corporate boardroom and the media arm of white supremacy in the entertainment industry. The gangsta and the thug are not real people. No, they are social constructs, and they are social constructs made up to look like a black person, but they are the idea and image of a white person, and they are the image of a white person's ideal of a black person. They are made to fit his ideals. And again, that's where Ice Cube is being disingenuous, because when it came to gangsta rap, this whole genre of music was created by guys in a corporate boardroom, and what they did was go out here and use useful idiots like Ice Cube and those in the NWA to push their anti-black agenda. Use those useful idiots to push their anti-black agenda to get black people off the road of looking to be empowered, looking to build and create positive images of themselves, like Bill Cosby was trying to be the architect of, and tried to sell us the idea of being quote-unquote real and from the streets. But that whole idea of quote-unquote real and from the streets ironically wasn't real. No, that whole idea of quote-unquote real was something made up by corporate executives to, again, fit the whole ideals that were established in the days of the slave master, and establish the ideas that fit from the caricatures of the slave master, again, repackaging them and making them more appealing to a new generation of young black people. That's what this was designed to do. It was designed to do, and again, while Ice Cube might say, oh, the federal government didn't write any of his stuff, no, but they controlled the narrative of what was published. And again, in order for that record to get distributed, it had to meet the approval of those white executives in order to get on store shelves all across the country. So while Ice Cube may say Dr. Dre was his A&R guy, that A&R guy had to get the approval of other executives, and that's where Dr. Dre is a bootlick. That's where he's a bootlick, because he basically went out here and co-signed all of this. And again, these guys basically, again, created this whole support of this whole culture that white supremacy wanted for black people, because they didn't want to see black kids going to school. They didn't want you to see black kids going to college. They didn't want you to see black people working. No, what they wanted to do was go out here and benefit by getting their blood money off of the backs of black people who were being killed in the street as they listened to this propaganda, anti-black propaganda known as gangsta rap, this anti-black culture and anti-black propaganda known as gangsta rap. And again, I don't know what the sexuality of the men were as related to things, but they were not, Candace Owens, this is where Candace Owens is being full of it, where she said they offer deals to black men in prison, which is completely full of it. But when it comes to that whole statement of her saying, oh, they turn people into artificial celebrities. No, that's what the media arm of white supremacy does. They go out here and can make anyone into a celebrity and make that person into a celebrity if they are fitting whatever agenda they want to push. Whoever they want to push, they will go out here and keep putting their name out there, keep putting their name out there. And if people hear it enough, and they'll follow that person. And that's what Candace Owens, again, is being disingenuous in my eyes. She's sitting there talking about how they look to make these alphabet black men into artificial celebrities. No, when it comes to the media arm of white supremacy, they make anyone into a celebrity, whether it be a Candace Owens or an Ice Cube. They make people into celebrities that fit their agenda, and if that person fits their agenda, what they do is put that person out here and have them promoting and parroting their narratives, whether it be someone like an Ice Cube who was out here parroting the anti-black agenda of gangsta rap, or someone like a Candace Owens who is parroting an anti-black agenda on the far right. Both of these bootlicks, again, are basically in a battle online, because they're basically out here looking to jockey for a position of power, in the media arm of white supremacy, and both of them basically, again, looking to do the dirty work of white supremacy, meanwhile making it look like they are out here looking to present us with a picture of things. And again, both of the narratives are inaccurate because, again, when it came to rap music, the reason why we got gangster rap is because white supremacy did not like the empowering messages created by black people in actual rap music, and they did not like the whole changing of perception of self that was going on in the 1980s. They did not like the messages of people like many of the old school rappers. They did not like the messages of people like Bill Cosby and Spike Lee and Robert Townsend. They did not like the picture of black people changing to a more balanced picture that was humanized, and they wanted to get black people back on the mindset of self-hatred, and that's why they created gangster rap and created hood movies to get us from starting to see ourselves as who we are to being spellbound once again. I talk about this in depth in my novel, Spellbound, where I talk about the spellbound black person who basically looks to fit themselves into a black box that's acceptable to white people, and that's basically what Candace Owens and Ice Cube want to do, fit black people into this black box that's acceptable to white people, where they look to bootlick and pander to white folks for their daily bread and do not see their value as black people. Because like I talked about in my novel, Spellbound, again, the Matilda character is living on Sugar Hill, a neighborhood built by foundational black Americans that shows that what we can do when we're successful. One of the few neighborhoods that were built by black people that remain to this day, because many of the black towns like Rosewood and Black Wall Street were destroyed because they showed that black people could achieve on the same level as white people, and they could present a sense of competition. This is something that the white racist doesn't want you to see. No, what they want to do is fit you into the black box, and again, the black box limits you, and Candace Owens and Ice Cube basically want to limit you and keep you from actualizing your potential, and that's why many black people have to walk away from old legacy black media to new black media, because when it comes to new black media is all about presenting you with the facts, presenting you with the truth, presenting you with what actually it went on in that historical period, present you with what actually happened in that time. And that's what I'm trying to do with this video, is show you what actually happened in that time to lead to the entire rap music turning into gangster rap. And again, when Ice Cube goes out here and says, oh, black people wanted gangster rap, no, the black people were not the fans of gangster rap. No, the main majority of fans of gangster rap were whites and non-blacks, and whites and non-blacks loved hearing that music because it presented them with the images of black people that racists want to see. Racists basically want to see black people being loud, black people being profane, and not being able to articulate themselves the way many of the great rappers used to be able to. I mean, used to be the truly great rappers loved presenting their phonetic skills and their lyricism, and they did not want you to see that. So this is why we got the gangster rappers. The gangster rappers were, again, about giving the racist their perception of black people and their ideal of black people. And what's really disturbing is they told us that this was real. They told us that this was the real black person, but this was not the real black person. No, this was an image that the white supremacists created to fit their reality. This was a creation that they fit their reality, and they got their black bootlicks to go out here and fit their reality, whether it be an Ice Cube, whether it be a Dr. Dre, whether it be a guy like Russell Simmons or a Diddy Combs. Again, these guys basically did the dirty work of the white supremacists in giving them their ideas, and these guys basically wanted to do this because they wanted to reach that quote-unquote larger audience of whites and non-blacks, giving them the rap music that they felt comfortable with. It wasn't about, again, using this music to empower ourselves, and what they want to do now is co-opt that whole music form the same way they did with rock and roll and try to make guys like Eminem be the face of rap music. Again, what's going on here with rap music is that, again, rap music was about black culture, but gangster rap was never black culture. I'll agree with Candace Owens on that one point. It was never a part of us. No, gangster rap is a construct of white supremacy, and a construct of white supremacy not to again, create artificial celebrities, but to create a narrative in the black community that fits that of white supremacy and fit a narrative of white supremacy using their artificial celebrities again to again use this music to program black children's minds not to see themselves as achievers, not to see themselves as excellent, but to see themselves in the blight of the quote-unquote hood, the quote-unquote hood that we did not create. No, the hood that was basically created as a social construct as related to white supremacy. Again, a place that basically was that does not exist, except it's been programmed in your mind because it's not real. Again, there's no hood, because any neighborhood can be a place of people living. Again, I grew up in the South Bronx in the 80s, and yes, a lot of people were poor and a lot of people were struggling in the early 80s, but people did have pride because there was family. Unfortunately, when crack cocaine came along, this is what basically turned it into a ghetto that fit the white supremacist ideal of where they want to see their smooth world, because there's no black people looking to aspire to get jobs and look to compete against white and non-black children because they're so busy either fighting over crack rocks, fighting over girls, or fighting over turf that they don't own. That's what they don't want to tell you as related to things. Again, don't want to tell you this and have you believing, again, gangsta is a part of black culture. No, gangsta was never a part of black culture. It was, again, a construct of white supremacy. I will repeat that because I want you to understand. They want you to have your perception of self as low so that they can continue to keep you at the bottom. And that's what gangsta rap was all about. And that's what that music was designed to program, an idea in your mind to never see yourself as being better or doing better. And this, reinforced with the Hood movies that came out in the 90s, basically changed people's perception from that of looking to try to achieve and do better to staying in a psychological ghetto, and stay in that psychological ghetto at the bottom with a spellbound mind where you fit yourself into a black box that's acceptable to white racists, a box where you never aspire to do better, a box where you never aspire for excellence. That's what the whole thing with gangsta rap is all about. It's all about looking to try to, again, destroy black people. And again, gangsta rap was not of our culture. I'll agree with Candace Owens on that one point. But when Ice Cube says, that the fans wanted gangsta rap, I gotta call BS on that. Because when it came to rap music, I was there, and many of us didn't want gangsta rap in the black community. And when it came to his stuff, again, it all came out, again, it wouldn't have been distributed unless it fit their narrative. So he knows this because he wrote about it in his song, No Get Vaseline, where he talked about how the industry did him. So I look at both sides, and again, as someone who's been there and lived in that era, I want to present the facts to you regarding this disingenuous about these bootlicks and their looks for opportunism to jockey for a position in white supremacy. And both of these bootlicks, again, looking to continue to be tools, not understanding the end for a tool is to be broken. The end for a tool is to be broken. And both of these tools, basically, again, are looking to get back up. I mean, when it comes to Candace Owens and Ice Cube, you got to look at both of them, and with a side eye. You got Candace Owens, who's on the far right. You got Ice Cube, who's hanging out with Tucker Carlson, a known racist. But both of them want to tell us about gangsta rap, and again are being disingenuous because they want to cover their whole disingenuousness regarding this whole debate, which isn't a debate, because when it comes to gangsta rap was never about black people. It was about pushing an anti-black agenda to eliminate black people and make them their own worst enemy. Now, if you want to learn about the whole spellbound mindset and what leads to black people fitting themselves into these black boxes that make them acceptable to white people by playing the role of conservative pundits or thugs and gangsters, you can pick up my book Spellbound on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also pick up Spellbound at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos taking celebrities to the barbecue, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s in this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Get your copy of John Haynes, 1987 in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose. The man who rules the world runs into the irresistible force of a man with nothing to lose in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get the regular and variant editions of John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose on Amazon.com.